Hello everyone, welcome back to another Diecast review. Today we have Richard Petty in the number 43, well, not sponsored vehicle. This is from the 75th Win collection. So this is his 75th win, of course, in the STP car. Very cool that they did this. Again, I'm not a huge fan of it because I know it's going to be a peg warmer as far as the entire wave goes, but it's still a pretty cool thing that they did. I mean, they could have done it a little better, but still, it's not super terrible. There's the car, there's the package. We don't have the stickers anymore, and they'll update the package later. 75th Win Collection, Wave 7, Richard Petty, 43. Let's go ahead and turn over to the back of this wave. So here's all the cars here. We did end up getting every single one except for the liquid color, of course, but we did get them all. We're not going to review all of them, only the Richard Petty and the Dale Earnhardt, because I got spares. Or duplicates, I guess. So we're going to get this out of the box and take a closer look at this very interesting diecast. But nonetheless, still something very interesting that they've done. I mean, it's not bad, but it's very interesting. Just, again, I know I'm saying interesting a lot, but it is. It's weird. It's kind of cool, kind of not, because it's kind of bland. No decals as far as the 75th anniversary and the contingencies, and these are also on the blurry decals on this one, and the Earnhardt is. The other ones are fine, but the Earnhardt and the Petty car, not doing so hot. Here's the diecast out of the box, and right away, I do want to say, this is not STP. This was, what, 1967? So, STP was not on this car. This was his Plymouth race car. Of course, it's on a Camaro this time, but so after doing a little bit of research, it's like it's not as bad as it looks, because normally you'd see like the 43 and think of the whole STP thing, but this is actually kind of close to what they used to look like in terms of the design. It's just got the plain blue, and then there's like the 43 on the door, all the contingencies. It's got the cubic inches measurements on the hood. And there, of course, there's like a little bit of more like contingencies out through the back end, but it still is bland nonetheless. Yeah, but I mean, it's not as bland as it is with all these other cars. Where this one is so old in terms of year, it's not as bad as, like, say, the Johnson car or the Gordon car, because, you know, they don't have all that contingencies. They mirror that sponsorship. They do, but it doesn't look as bad because it's actually kind of more accurate to that actual Plymouth. Either way, I think they missed a pretty big opportunity here for these diecasts, because not only the diecast, it was for the packaging. I know they're cutting cost, but this one final time, this one final wave, they should have added the card, not the sticker, the card of like the race stats for that race. Like for this one was October 1st, 1967. I did a little bit, not a whole lot of research, but I did a little bit of research and couldn't find anything. Like I could not find what race it was, what track it was, nothing. So it would be awesome if they did that with every single diecast in the wave and had a card that had not even like all the race stats, like, you know, what track it was, the day. Obviously it's on the deck lid, but they could throw that on the card too. There was a little bit of missed opportunity, but at the same time, I do understand because they're cutting cost. Even then, I know Lionel would just had the 75th anniversary logo sticker. That's all they would have done. I know better. But it would have been really cool if we got a little more detail and information about some of these cars, because I don't know. Like, obviously, I wasn't born 1967 or before, so I have no clue what race this was. Nothing. I mean, it's like I was born in 2002, okay? So I was nowhere even near this date of time. Like, I mean, I have no idea what the race was other than it being his 75th win. It just would have been nice if they did a little more, oh, interesting. NASCAR just said, or just posted that Noah Gragson's driving for Stuart Haas full-time 2024. Nice. Anyway, I know that was kind of out of nowhere. I just got a notification from YouTube. But anyway, yeah, so it would have been nice if they kind of added just a wee bit more detail for these cars. Just this last wave, this final wave is all I asked. That would have been nice. So you can already tell the blurry decals here. You can't even see, like is that 48, 1948 through 2023? I can barely even tell those numbers there. NASCAR 75th anniversary, 426 CI, I believe that's the cubic inches, which is the engine measurement. If I could speak, I think that's what that is. I could be completely wrong. And the 43 on top here, of course, you see the terrible decals thrown on there. That's always nice. It was only the 7-time champions, not Johnson. But at the time, Johnson wasn't a 7-time champion. So, you know, I guess technically it was only the 7-time champions for this wave that kind of got the crappy decals. So there's 43 there. October 1st, 1967 on the deck lid. Nothing on the back. We do have pop rivets and stuff still, which is kind of cool to see. Camaro, ZL1, you can barely tell, but it's there, 43. Again, nothing on these rear quarter panels or anything. I do like the blue, though. It don't remind me of a Petty blue. It reminds me more of like a Dynaco blue from Cars. I don't know, maybe it's just me. 43. Now, we're going to try, and I put a lot of emphasis on try, because these bad boys are super messed up. So we got a crown there. Can't tell what that is. Premier, maybe. Champion. Can't tell what that is. Moog, MP, something like that. I don't know. I can't tell. Something pure. Golf, maybe. Goodyear. Man, I cannot tell any of these. They're so terrible. 43, got the pretty pixelated front in there. I do like the nice silver splitter. That is kind of neat. But other than that, it's not really much else to it. It's just kind of bland. It's got a cool little silver splitter, but other than that, it's just, it's a weak diecast. It is. That's, at the same time, what else could they have done? I have a feeling this is more of like a filler wave. Yeah, it's cool to have the 75th wins of these drivers and everything. That's cool and all, but at the same time, it's almost like it could have been done better. Like I said, maybe the cards with the information of the races on it would have been a lot better. You could have give us some detail about some of these cars. No, I know I'm going for a stretch here, but they could have been like raced versions. Those would have been cool, but obviously, I don't think that would have happened, even if they had the opportunity to. But still, it's a decent wave. It's very mid though, only because the lack of sponsorship on the cars or licensing on the cars. There's no like card, which is sad. I didn't even realize on the back of the paint scheme, the back of the box here, it reads, the NASCAR 75th win collection celebrates the drivers who have achieved at least 75 wins in NASCAR Cup Series. Each diecast is produced on the next gen body and is inspired by the driver's 75th win paint scheme. Which obviously we could tell that, but I didn't even know that was printed on the back until just now. So that's interesting, but either way, the wave itself is, again, it's okay. It's not great, it's not amazing, it's a good idea. It's a great idea on paper. But when you actually go to produce it, and you don't have any cards to go with it to tell, like, what the races was, or how many laps were led, or, any additional information on the race, it kind of goes to crap, you know what I mean? We understand about the licensing, you can't do all that, I get that, that's fine. And then cutting the costs on top of that doesn't help, because again, this is like these newer fans, which is a lot of what NASCAR is nowadays. They're not going to know, like, this won't mean anything to them. Now, the older collectors, yeah, sure, that might mean something to them, but even then, they'll want the old diecast. They'll want the diecast produced on the correct mold, with the correct decals and stuff like that. So, this whole fantasy line thing may not really touch a lot of people's hearts, as Lionel may have been wanting. Again, I don't really think it's a bad idea. I think it's kind of neat, but at the same time, like, for example, this Richard Petty win right here. No clue where it came from, nothing, no idea. The ones that will really be, like, remembered is the Darrell Waltrip, like Johnson, Gordon, Earnhardt, kind of like the bigger names. So when we go something to Petty, oh, excuse me, I burped. With Petty from like 1967, it's going to be hard to remember. It really is. Again, most NASCAR fans in that day and age weren't even born then, or this day and age wasn't even born back then, so it's even more difficult to kind of have a connection with the fans, which, I get it. Again, it's not bad, it's just, it's kind of a miss in terms of, like, there's a couple things that didn't really connect to that should have connected, but again, I mean, that's all it is. Nonetheless, I think it's a really cool concept on paper, and then when you go to execute it, it's not as cool. But still, either way, I do like the idea of it. It is really nice. But nonetheless, I believe that'll be all for this Richard Petty 75th The Win review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.